The drink in your cup. Warm, familiar, comforting. But once, it was power. It carried money and silver across oceans.
It sparked rebellions, ignited wars, reshaped empires, and rewrote the world map. This is tea, the drink that reshaped the world map. Long before porcelain cups and tea bags, a leaf grew quietly in the hills of China. For millennia, locals harvested and boiled it. It was medicine. It was ritual. It was everyday life. To ancient China, tea was more than a drink. It was ceremony, culture, identity. What began as humble leaves became sacred water. And as stories, traders, and pilgrims moved across Asia, from mountain monasteries to desert outposts, tea traveled with them. From China to Tibet's passes, onwards to Japan, Korea, beyond. Tea was no longer local. It was becoming global. In the 1500s and 1600s, European traders ventured to Asia. One cargo changed everything: tea. By 1607, the first recorded European shipment of tea made it back to Europe, carried by the Dutch East India Company. From there, it spread fast. In 1657 in London, a man named Thomas Garway sold tea in his coffee house, among the first in Britain. A few years later, the diarist Samuel Pepys wrote of ordering a cup of tea, a China drink, for the first time. Court, aristocracy, merchants. Tea became a luxury, a novelty, a status symbol. By the late 1600s, it was the drink of the English elite. And once the elite taste turned into mass demand, the chase was on. Tea created a trade imbalance few anticipated. China didn't want European goods. It accepted only silver. Europe's coffers emptied. Silver flowed east. To reverse the drain, Western merchants tried everything. Spices, silk, textiles, nothing balanced the books. The solution was cruel and cunning. Opium. Smuggled into China from British-ruled India. Opium in, silver out. Tea returned to Britain and Europe. By the early 1800s, demand for tea soared. Ports buzzed, fleets sailed, money flowed. The world had entered the age of global commodities, and tea was front and center. Yet behind every steaming cup were forced labor fields, disappearing forests, human exploitation, and a network of trade that relied on addiction and imperial power. Tea was no longer just comfort. It was commerce, empire, exploitation. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, in the British colonies in America, tea had arrived too. First via Dutch traders in New Amsterdam, now New York, then regularly by the 1720s across the eastern seaboard. Tea was luxury, status, and soon it became a habit. By the mid-1700s, even working-class colonists drank it. Taverns and cafes served it. The aroma of boiling water and leaves filled kitchens from Boston to Charleston. But the taste of tea came with a bitter aftertaste. The British Crown and the British East India Company controlled the trade. Colonial imports of tea were heavily taxed and restricted. Vast quantities of tea and silver flowed across the sea. But the Americans had no say. In 1773, Parliament passed the Tea Act. It gave the East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in America and allowed direct exports, a bailout for a failing company. On paper, it meant cheaper tea. In reality, it was a power play.
Colonists saw it as an assault on their rights, taxation without representation. Smugglers' survival, merchants' livelihoods, and colonial autonomy were all at stake. Tea became political, and things were heating up.
On December 16, 1773, in Boston Harbor, a small band of colonists, some disguised as Native Americans, boarded 3 ships of the East India Company. They dumped 342 chests of tea into the water. That act, the Boston Tea Party, was more than protest. It was a challenge to imperial power. A slap across the face of a superpower that said, "You may tax tea, but you cannot tax our consent."
The response was swift and brutal. The Crown closed ports, sent troops, cracked down on dissent. But something had changed irrevocably. The wheels of revolution were set in motion. Tea, a simple leaf, had become a weapon.
Britain lost America, but its thirst for tea didn't fade. It shifted. The empire turned east to lands it controlled: India, Ceylon, Assam, the hills of Darjeeling.
Where once tea grew wild in China's mountains, now it was planted in vast plantations under colonial rule. The British East India Company and newly formed colonial governments began cultivating tea at scale. By the mid-19th century, these plantations supplied the world. Tea became industrialized, cheap, mass-produced, global. From slave-fueled opium trade to plantation labor. From colonial power to consumer supply. The wheel turned full circle. The leaf that once represented culture and calm now represented domination and profit. Today, tea is ubiquitous. Street-side chai in Kolkata, iced tea in Atlanta, Earl Grey in London, matcha in Tokyo. Global trade, global taste. A drink for the masses. But the legacy remains. Behind every mass market packet, colonial history, exploitation, land grabs, unequal trade balances, environmental damage, labor injustice. Tea is both comfort and complication. Each cup carries centuries of trade, power, and politics. As you stir your sugar, pour your water, sip your tea, remember, you are tasting history. If this surprised you, hit subscribe. Share the episode. Comment below, what everyday thing do you want exposed next? Upcoming: containers, concrete, glass, more hidden histories of what builds us.